Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Dirt Track Features. I'm Chris Moore. In this episode, we talk with Danny Serrano, the general manager of Bridgeport Speedway. Bridgeport is now a triplex as of last year, so we talked to Danny about all things on all three tracks and what his day entails in the life of the general manager of Bridgeport Speedway. Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoy. What's going on, Dirt Track Features fans? I'm Chris Moore, here with the general manager at Bridgeport Speedway, Danny Serrano. We're here in Neil Williams' shop in Pittsgrove, New Jersey. Bridgeport, I guess, off season, everything's shut down. There's no heat, no light anywhere.
Pretty much. We winterized the place, and we'll be getting it fired back up in a couple weeks. So.
Okay, we're getting to that time. So thanks to Neil Williams for.
You didn't want to drive down to Tom's River.
I didn't. If I could avoid it, I was going to. So let's jump right into things. General manager at Bridgeport. It's off-season time. So what's this time like for you? I mean, I don't think you're kind of bored right now.
Yeah. Contrary to belief, I'm not that bored. I'm used to it. This is my 13th year working in a racetrack.
Racing, yeah.
And even though it's off season, as when I was a fan, I used to go stir crazy. You know, you needed races, but now that you're behind the scenes, involved in everything, it definitely slows down. But you know, in the summer, you're putting 60 to 80 hours a week in, and now you just kind of. It evens out. There's still plenty to do. You know, we had the races in Trenton. You have the back right after. I mean, we run long till November, and this year was even longer with the rainouts.
Yeah.
So you got the banquet, the indoor races at Trenton, Christmas, motorsports, Atlantic City. Just did a car show in Atlantic City. Yeah. Usually I'm in Florida for the promoters meetings. We skipped this year, took a year off, and then next thing you know, it's March, we're racing again. Yeah. So just a little time to focus on myself and get back in the gym and try to get healthy again, eating all the track food and sitting driving from track to track all summer. It gets to you. So
yeah. Well, so what's in season? You know, I know you mentioned this time kind of evens it out, but I'm curious. Sunday through Thursday, on a regular week, no racing, no special shows. Sunday through Thursday, what are those days like for you?
Sundays, I try to make it, my day, just to relax. It's definitely hard to find a balance between work and personal life.
Right.
But racing is my personal life, so I've taken a passion of mine, and obviously I made it into a career job. So it's hard to separate the two. So Sunday I try to relax, do family stuff, or just enjoy the day. But that's the day you get all the calls from everybody.
It's the day after.
And the messages and all the negative stuff that happen, or even the positive stuff. But it's like, man, I don't want to look at my phone today. Just leave me alone. We'll talk Monday all day long.
Yeah. Right.
But usually my phone will start ringing anywhere from 8 o'clock in the morning all the way to 11 midnight.
On Sunday.
I'm sorry. Well, any day. Any day of the week. So it could be daunting sometimes.
So that's Sunday, and you mentioned you've kind of made it into it's a full-time job. It's a career now. But a racetrack
again. Think about it. Sorry to cut you off. But a lot of Sundays we race it too. So
right. Well,
there's some Sundays at Bridgeport, the poker series for the micro stuff, and then sometimes there are specials I go to promote an event. And
right.
I'd say half of the Sundays I'm actually at a race.
Right. So even Sunday, as much as you want it to be, is not always. So, but like Monday through Thursday, I mean, what keeps you busy? What keeps you? Obviously, the phone calls, the promoting, the things. But
different stuff. I mean, not to sound vague, but I'll try to have a layout a week or two in advance.
Okay.
I just made my schedule for races that I plan on going to promote our races. And, talk to fans, talk to drivers. That's old school. Guerrilla marketing stuff.
That's what I was gonna say. I see it a lot of races, but I always remind myself like Danny's working.
It is. And if you can get one, one of the cool things is pass out flyers a lot at tracks for upcoming events, and you get a call during the week at the race at the track, and someone say, "Yeah, I got a flyer. I was at New Egypt or Grandview or Georgetown," and I mean, it works. It works.
Yeah.
Most of the people probably know about the event, but it's just a branding thing. Just like you're driving down the road and you see a sign for McDonald's.
Yeah, you know McDonald's is there.
You know it exists, but now you want McDonald's.
Right.
You get a flyer on your way home from from a Thunder on the Hill show, and you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to go to Bridgeport next week or something.
So that's your typical week is just
well, that's I do a lot of stuff like we print out like 50,000 schedules.
Yeah.
And I go to every store that'll allow me to put it, usually twice a week. The days I'm not going to a racetrack, go out, I'll hit 40, 50 stores a day, and whether it's hardware stores, liquor stores, convenience stores,
anywhere people might want to go to races.
Yeah,
right?
you go, and it's a good thing because I'll get the same calls. Man, I was down at the OVT Tavern in Vineland, and I picked up one of your schedules. Sees you have monster trucks, and you just the guerrilla marketing, the old school stuff still definitely works and has its place. We do township nights. You know that?
Yeah, you do fairs and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm going around passing out flyers in townships, getting in trouble from the mailman. And, there's all kinds of stuff. What do they call that? National Night Out. We have stuff for different events. The fair, Cumberland Fair down the road here, takes up 3-4 days. It all adds up. There's rarely a day, and then there might be a day where I take off and I'll go down to Delaware and try to go hitch a ride on a boat with a friend or Jamie Mills or Ryan Godin or somebody. And,
hang out.
But that's because we raced on a Sunday and I lost my Sunday.
Right. So now race days, Fridays and Saturdays, and special shows, things like that. But race day, I've heard you say there's not much I don't do around here. Yeah. But that, you don't announce. I know that much.
Yeah. I almost had to once, so I was nervous. So I didn't want to do it.
But what's race day like? I mean, I know you get there 10, 11 in the morning sometimes. And
a typical weekend at Bridgeport, obviously, is a Friday, Saturday. So Friday, I don't know, I get there maybe around 11 o'clock in the morning. I live an hour and a half from Bridgeport.
Yeah.
So get up, drive, leave around 9:30. Get there, and Keith's usually there. He gets there around the same time.
Yeah.
We try to coordinate around the same time, and usually he's the only one there in the beginning of the day, throughout most of the day, and I'll help him if he needs anything. The phones are ringing like crazy because people never heard them. They don't know what they're doing on race day, and you're getting all kinds of messages, and just cleaning up the facility, just stuff that happened during the week or that didn't get done, and I might do like the handicap, and I'm in charge of that, so I'll sit at the computer, do that stuff, and
we'll get into that. Don't worry.
Yeah, but believe it or not, it's just you think, okay, I got nothing to do. You might think that. And then you're like, where did the day go?
Right.
I don't know what happened. I didn't even do these 4 things I was supposed to do. I did 2 of them, but it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything all day. So, obviously we race Friday, and then stay at the track Friday night and get up around 8:30, 9 in the morning on Saturday and do it all over again.
Right.
So clean up from Friday.
Yeah. Saturday morning's probably pretty busy because you raced the night before. Yeah. So you mentioned Keith. You guys have the management team, Colby, Brian, Keith, Dave, and yourself, and you guys have on the phone meetings, correct? Once a week.
Usually Wednesday mornings we have a meeting.
What's that encompass? What does that all entail? I mean, what's the work relationship? Everybody's kind of got a role, but it seems like everybody tries to help out everybody at the same time.
We'll start out, a typical meeting. We talk about any new business coming up, and by that we mean, Brian usually heads the meeting. He's a good leader there, and we'll talk about anything new that came up or that we should talk about, whether it was through email, it's something that happened at the track, or something anywhere. And then we try to handle that and fix that and focus on that. And then we'll get into, we have a minutes, you keep documenting all the minutes, and then when you see DS, that's me. I'm in charge of these 8 things, and DA is Dave Adams, and we all have chores, so to speak, to do all throughout the week and try to get them done. And the less stuff on your list is the more you accomplish that week.
Right. So that's kind of how you guys operate. Now, 2018 was really rough. It was rough on everybody. Yeah. But the rain, had to make things. Was there any tension? Just not necessarily anybody's fault, but just the way things are going, it had to grow. Frustration had to grow with the way things were happening.
It was more of it was kind of demoralizing.
Right.
We'd get in our meetings and we talked about how we were prepared for a good event or much needed financial booster.
Right.
Just anything, just momentum, rhythm, and we rained out.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we talking about? There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to build on.
Right. Yeah, we don't have momentum.
Then we get down and then we build it back up again. And okay, let's get ready for this weekend because they're saying it's going to be sunny. You know, Brian always brings that up too in the meeting. Yeah. Right now they're saying 80% thunderstorms. I hope I see you this weekend. And it's when you have a business like this, you're constantly looking at the weather.
Yeah, every day.
And that's kind of cool in the winter. I don't look at the weather. I could care less.
You delete the app, you just get rid of it.
But now I'll start looking at the weather every day, and I try not to focus on it too much until maybe Thursday.
Right. Even so, you can't do anything about it. It's one of those things.
You can't do anything about it, and that's the frustrating part. So
yeah. Have you ever seen anything like? Because I know Colby said he's never seen anything like it, but Colby hasn't been in this as long as you have. I mean, is there anything that comes to mind, even when you weren't working?
There's been rainy seasons. Yeah. There definitely has. But it was more. I think the issue with last year was. It was so wishy-washy. They never knew what it was going to do.
Right.
It was supposed to be, 30%, 20% chance of rain, and then it never stopped raining that day.
Right.
So that was more the frustrating part. Like we sit around on Saturday morning when the weather's iffy,
right?
And we're like, if it just rains, okay.
Yeah, you can call it, right?
That's it. We go home. It's over, right. and it sucks, but it is what it is.
Right. Yeah, you didn't.
But when it's well, maybe, and then it's moving over here, but then it breaks apart, but then it gets back together.
Yeah.
And it's just very frustrating. I mean, the weathermen can't get it right. We're not going to get it right. So, right. And in today's day and age, like growing up, I went to Flemington. You called the track at noon. They said they're running. You watch the news Friday night to see what the weather was. That was it.
Yeah, it was easy.
There was not the apps. You didn't have the phones, and now everybody sees them like, I'm not going to go.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
And it's part of the deal, and it's tough.
Yeah,
and I'm guilty of it.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, when you're going to races, it's I'll skip that one.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the management team. Everybody kind of has their roles, and your role, for the most part, a lot of it is dealing with drivers and crew members and things like that. And so I feel like you deal with a lot of things, a lot of suggestions, or requests or things like that. I know one that I heard about a lot was the handicap in the 602 Crate Sportsman, but just all together, I mean, where does suggestions go? What do you do with them? I mean, sometimes you just kind of blow it off. We've tried that, it doesn't work, or
well, I try to explain it to the driver or anyone who's coming to me with a suggestion. I guess, it seems negative toned, but the first thing I do with anything is find out why won't it work? There's obviously something wrong with that suggestion, because otherwise we'd be doing it.
Right.
That doesn't mean it can't be done or tweaked or compromised to fit it, but usually the suggestion has been thought about, and it just doesn't work for whatever reason.
Right.
But I won't just say okay.
And then walk right.
Yeah, I'll listen to it, or like we said, we talk about new business in our meetings, and I try to address it. Somebody said, "Why don't you do this?" And then I explain, well, you don't know about this, and this, and they'll say, "Oh, we didn't realize that."
Right.
And you're like, "Yeah, that's why we don't do that."
So the one I brought up, the 602 Crate Handicap, I'm just curious. For me, from what and I know you talked about there were 13 different feature winners, which is, I agree with you, that's a great number. But at the same time, you could point to, I think the top 7 or 8, you had 2 combined wins. And that's tough to sell guys on showing up. They know week in, week out, they have a top 3 to 5 car, and yet they have almost no chance to win. It's just hard with those cars and with that track to come forward. So I'm just curious, just because, like I said, in my household it was something that was brought up a lot, talked about a lot. Has there been any talk changing that number? And I know I talked to Ryan Watt too, and he talked about things that they could do in the modified division to change it up a little bit. So I'm just curious, has there been thought? I know that, and everybody's different. The micro sprint guys redraw every night, unless they won the week before or something like. So everybody's different. What do you think
about that idea?
The redraw, I think it's a great idea until Ryan Watt draws the pole, or until.
Well, I didn't say this for big blocks.
Well, no, for the micro sprint, you mean the crates?
The crates.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I really don't.
We've talked about that. I think that's the direction we're leaning.
Is doing a redraw every week for the. Like I said, I mean, I think it throws something in. You know,
the thing with crate racing is, I don't think it's an issue per se at some tracks, but the size of Bridgeport's a big track.
Yeah.
And if it's not a caution, they can get strung out, and it's hard to pass because everybody's equal.
Yeah.
Which I think this year they really were.
Yeah. No, it showed. It really did.
So the new system in place is working, and we got what we wanted, parity. But now it's too much parity. It's like, well, nobody's winning more than 2 races.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. And, so yeah, we've looked at something, changing that up, and just make it interesting.
So proof that suggestions do go to change. It doesn't happen right away sometimes, but it does. All right, so that was our first tough question. We're going to jump in. If you've seen so far, we do rapid fire.
Okay.
So these are non-racing related rapid fire questions. So racing off the table here. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Hamburgers or hot dogs?
That's easy. Hamburgers.
Beer or liquor?
Probably liquor.
Chocolate or vanilla?
What are we talking about?
In general.
I was a big vanilla fan as a kid, but probably chocolate now.
Okay.
I switched.
Favorite sport that isn't racing?
To watch football, to play basketball.
Okay. Dog or cat?
Probably neither or either. It doesn't matter. If I had to pick a dog.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Favorite music genre?
I was always a big country fan, but I haven't listened to country in the last 6 months, and I hate it now.
You hate it now?
It's not,
like the new stuff,
new
you mean?
Stuff, no.
Yeah, I imagine
it's different.
When we've talked, every time you're playing old country and stuff like that.
So, but I listen to anything.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. So now we'll get into the tough stuff. This is kind of the section of things I was really looking forward to. So the 3/8 mile.
Okay.
Brand new this past year, and I thought, and this is where we agreed on things, I thought the racing on it was phenomenal.
I don't think, I know.
Yeah, it was,
We'll be at 4 races.
Yeah, that's...
and, you know, the Deo race, the short track, was probably the worst race.
I agree.
And I think that was a multitude of reasons. One, the one thing I used to tell my grandmother this, we'd go to a race where there's 20 superstars.
Right.
That's a Deo race. And, this guy, he's horrible. He's running 15th. He's not passing anybody. Well, look at the guys that are ahead of him. They're all all-stars. So when you put that many guys on a racetrack, it's hard to pass. You know, we ran into some track conditions that day. It was like a big hole in 4 or something.
Yeah, 4 was,
in April, you know, that's going to happen. So especially on a brand new surface.
Right.
But those other 3 races were I thought, damn good.
I agree with you. But it did have its fair share of complaints or issues that I think even you guys, everybody said lighting.
Yep.
Well, you guys had done some things to make the lighting better. Have we seen more? Is there going to be more addition as far as lighting goes?
Well, one of the big issues, one of the big things that we talked about this off season was because of all the rain, financially it wasn't one of our better seasons.
Right, yeah.
You know, when you lose, I think we lost 24 races between the 3 tracks. So that being said, we didn't have the money to put back into the 3/8 this year like we had envisioned and planned, whether like it's permanent lighting, inside barriers or outside guardrail, anything more just better for the drivers or even safer, that kind of stuff.
So it's just kind of one of those things that we need less rain to make money.
We know there's things that need to be addressed to it. Can it still be a functioning racetrack and put on a good show? Absolutely. But to make it up to our standards and to the driver's standards, there needs some more stuff to be done.
Right. It needs work. I mean, so another thing that was the pitting situation. You know, the quarter-mile pits is kind of tough. You know, you're putting guys pretty far away from trailers.
Yeah.
You know, when they're watching races, it's kind of congested there as far as where the entrance is, and then you've got the 5/8 pits is too far. It's too far to see. So is there something?
Personally, I mean, we had 4 races there. I didn't see if there's something that happened that I don't know about, then I don't know about it. But I don't think there were many issues as far as pitting.
Right.
Guys needing to come in, change a tire, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I think we set it up in a decent way where you can come off a 2 there, come around, and we went in saying we're going to give you some extra time as much as we can without slowing the show up too much. But people are saying that the issues, and we really didn't have any.
Right.
Not to say that there can't be any.
Right.
But
that you know that you were made aware of anyway. So.
I mean, it's a little more hectic than any other track, but every other track has a pit area in turns 1 or 3.
Right.
You know, you look at Grandview, you look at New Egypt. Okay, ours is over here. You just got to go a little bit out of the way to get through it.
Real quick, don't mind that. That was just the heat kicking on. It's got to get warm in here, if you heard that. So another thing we talked about was announced at Motorsports. Your 3-time now defending track champion of the big blocks is not coming back, at least regularly. Ryan Watt's not coming back. So, what was your initial reaction to that? Obviously, kind of disappointing, I would think, but at the same time, we're going to have a new champion. So,
yeah, I look at it 2 ways.
Right. It's
You know, Ryan says he's not coming back, and I'm not saying that's not true, but I guess the one stickler in his plans was the Eldora race.
Yeah, that's what he told us.
Which is in July, so things can happen. You know, what if he's got a big enough point lead where he can miss that race?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. I don't know.
I mean, if he's going to be at the other races, obviously.
Right. Yeah, it'll depend. Yeah.
But you know, things happen. Guys make plans to say they're going to do this and that, and things happen where plans change. And no, I mean, Ryan's a great driver. He's mastered. He's mastered Bridgeport in that 5-ace beyond belief.
Yeah. So another situation, another driver, Eric Corman. There was the whole banquet thing and not calling him the champion and whatnot, and at the same time, you know, he made his mistakes, had transgressions, and so I'm just curious. There's been a lot of backlash towards you guys, some towards him. Just your kind of general thoughts on the whole situation and how things are moving forward.
The thing with Eric is he's in a position where he can really be a good ambassador to the sport. And I think he doesn't know how to do that yet, or he chooses when and when he doesn't want to do it.
Right.
And you know, I commend Eric for going crate with us, doing the whole crate lock deal, coming there. You know, we really didn't have any issues with him all year. And, and he's a clean racer.
I've never really heard any complaints there.
It'd be easier to say not like him if he was a dirty racer or something. And so the fact that he's involved in racing and he has a business and he's affiliated with Brett down there. And you just think you just expect a little more from him, and maybe that's not fair.
Right.
That's, you know, people expect more from me or you maybe.
Right.
You know, they expect more from you now.
Don't expect.
Than they did 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. You're probably right.
So no, the thing with Eric is I think some of the stuff he said publicly just literally hurt Brian Ramey's feelings. And, you know, we're a team.
Right.
So when you hurt the boss's feelings, we all take offense to that. So, but I think he's on his way to understanding that there's just a time and place for everything. And like I said, he's got my number, he's got Brian's number, and we can agree to disagree, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to drag people through the mud publicly.
Right. All right. Well, works for me. The new schedule for 2019, we've got 4 points races on the 3/8 mile we talked about. The USAC guys and the World of Outlaws guys are back. No Super Dirt Car Series, no Brett Deyo. What are you looking forward to? What are you disappointed in?
We really did want a dirt series race. That was not our fault whatsoever.
That's what I had heard. That's what I was told.
Those guys did not want to travel to New Jersey for one show.
Now, can you guys, I'm just curious, can you guys call, say, New Egypt or Delmar or somebody else and say, hey, we can do this as a package deal?
I did talk with New Egypt. They weren't interested doing a deal. There was a little bit of talk. They were going to do Williams Grove and then maybe hit us, but the timing of the season wasn't right, and I think Williams Grove ended up backing out too. So it's a big undertaking. It did work for us the last time we did it. It was the Friends of Mike finale. I don't know if that helped any, but it's a little difficult when you're asking guys to invest in a bunch of different tires and and conform their body rules to a series just for one show.
Right.
But we did have 50-something cars, and
it was a good show.
And, just for that being alone, we wanted them back, and you don't get to see Brett Hearn and Matt Shepard and them guys, Billy Decker, travel south too much.
Yeah. So that was your disappointment, but I mean excitement. I mean, the World of Outlaws. Yeah. Everybody, please cross your fingers.
Yeah. The World of Outlaws is another huge undertaking. So if you're watching this, we definitely need your support. It's a huge purse, and but we feel it's worth it. We feel that we can put on a great show, and I know those guys are looking forward to it. Them 410s, they don't want nothing to do with the big track. But they're looking forward to a new track and a nice racy 3/8, and I think USAC proved it was. So.
I was going to say, I mean, I've heard you've said that 3/8 track is a really good sprint car track. So so that can be.
One of the cool things was I don't follow USAC. It's not my thing.
I don't either.
So when they came to town, everybody knew this guy knows that guy. I'm like, I don't know who these people are. And then I end up talking to them during the race, after the race, and guys like Brady Bacon, who I have to respect because I hear his name everywhere. The guy come up to me at the end of the race. He goes, "So you're telling me that was only the third race you had on this racetrack?" And I said, "Yeah, and a practice."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he's like, "Dude, we've been going to tracks, excuse me, in the Midwest that went from pavement to dirt or built new facilities, and they're not even half as good as this. And for 3 races, I think it's pretty damn good." He goes, and they said a little bit more lighting, a little bit of this, a little maybe more bank in here, but as a whole, they're like, it's pretty damn good.
It's definitely something to build on, right?
Yeah.
So definitely something to keep looking forward to. So we'll get into the second set of our rapid fire questions. These are the racing related ones. So these are going to put you to the test here. So ready to roll?
I'm ready.
All right. Big cars or little cars?
Big cars. It's closer. It's getting closer.
5/8 or 3/8?
I like them both. I don't know. I like them both.
Okay.
And a quarter.
And again, wing sprints or wingless?
Big cars?
Yeah.
Winged.
Winged. Yeah. Favorite driver?
Currently racing.
Yeah, anything. All time, NASCAR, I don't care.
I got a bunch of them. Stan Plosky was my idol growing up. Obviously Doug Hoffman.
Yeah.
It's just different now when you get behind the scenes and you get. I used to hate Jeff Strunk and Danny Johnson. I hated him as a fan.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Then you get to know them and you get to work with them and see what they go through, and you have a totally different respect for them. And
so much for rapid fire.
Sorry, but I have a bunch of.
I get it though, yeah. Because doing this, I've met a lot of these guys. I haven't met anybody I don't like. Yeah, I'm with you there. Your favorite track to visit?
Lebanon Valley.
Skyscraper or Linda's Nationals?
Oh, Skyscraper.
See, that's what Dylan said. We got to put that one in. He said he had a reason. So I don't know what it was. But so quarter mile guys, we'll kind of get into them. It's really kind of grown. It's really boomed for you guys. I know you just said it. I mean, you've taken on a real liking to those guys and the show that they put on and everything like that. So it was you guys' moneymaker last year. It kept you guys going. With all the rain and everything. But
that was it. Like we talked about the meetings we have. And Brian was reiterating how dismal the season was, and I said to Brian, I said, hey, as bad as it was, and it was, the Friday night program was actually the best we've had since we've been there.
Right.
And he said, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I remember at the banquet, he talked about how bad it was, and everybody said, "Oh, you depressed us." He had to come back up, and so
he didn't mean that.
But yeah, the quarter mile guy. I mean, it's really grown. The Skyscraper is one of the biggest races they have.
Awesome. Yeah. I tell people this, and I guess I can admit it, but I'm a little bit ashamed. When I first got there at Bridgeport, I signed up, this time of the year, January, and about 2 weeks before the season started, I was like, oh man, I gotta be here every Friday, and I wasn't happy about it. And that first year, I hid in my office. I wasn't happy being there. And then none of us knew if year 2 was even going to happen.
Right. Right.
And once we decided, yeah, year one went well, we're going to have year two, I said, okay, it's not who I am.
Right.
Let me get to know these guys. And then year three, I started traveling to different tracks and promoting, and the racing is really, really good. The guys are just like big block guys and big car guys. And
right.
They work on their stuff too, and they spend money and countless hours in the shop.
Yeah.
It might not be as costly, but they're racing under what they can, their financial arrangement. But they have heart and desire and skill just as much as the big car guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, I watch action track highlights, and I've been to a couple of the quarter mile nights, and they do put on an awesome show. Yeah. And like you said, they work just as hard.
Ask Neil about the first skyscraper when he pulled in. he couldn't believe what he was saying.
What he was getting into. All right, so last question, and we'll get into a lady who's probably more famous than you are in the racing community. The one that brought you to everything, Graham. Yep. Probably once a week there's still a Facebook post that Graham's in on Danny's Facebook.
Yeah, my Graham, she's special, man. My mom had me really young. She was 15.
Okay.
So, my parents, my dad was 20, so they never got their chance to live as young adults, as teenagers.
Yeah.
So, probably at the age of 3, my parents were like, hey, you mind watching Danny? Will we go do this? Be young adults.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was still alive, and she would take me, and they had a school bus converted to a motorhome, and they were huge race fans, and they just took me and my other cousins, their grandkids, and of all of them, I liked it the best.
Yeah, you took the liking to it.
And I loved it, and I still do. She took me everywhere. Growing up, going to all these different tracks, and then as we got older, I convinced her, let's go here, let's go to Lebanon Valley, let's go to Lernerville, let's go to Syracuse, and then it went from her taking me to me taking her.
Right.
When she got older and it was harder for her to drive, and she lived for racing. We talked about Sundays, so Sunday everybody has to have a family function in my family on Sunday, because I won't be there.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
If it's Saturday,
Yeah, Graham's got the races too.
It was on Sunday, and we go there, and then here comes Graham. Oh, what about Pouch last night and this? And we start talking racing, and my whole family's like, so what are you guys doing? You just witnessed it last night. Why are you still talking about it? They don't get it. They didn't get it. So,
but Graham did.
Yeah, she got it, and she's missed, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I've never met anybody who ever had a bad word to say about her. So well, thanks for making the trip down here to Neil Williams' shop. Again, thanks to Neil for having us here. Danny, look forward to 2019.
Yeah,
I'll see you around, I'm sure.
No rain.
Thanks for joining us, Dirt Track Features fans. Danny Serrano, I'm Chris Moore, Dylan Corcoran behind the camera. We'll see you next time.